The most intelligent person in the office. The one who reads every room, never loses composure, and holds the whole team together. Goes home and either snaps at the people they love the most or goes completely silent and unreachable. And then lies awake at night wondering what's wrong with them. Nothing is wrong with them. Something is happening to them. And once you understand what it is, really understand in your body, not just in your head, you can change it. I'm Erica Carter Folk, and this is the Armor Paradox. Welcome to the Mind Fusion Transformations channel, where we take nervous system science seriously and apply it to the relationships and patterns that are actually running your life. If this is your first time here, I'm a transformational coach and nervous system educator. I work specifically with high achievers who are privately struggling with the gap between who they are at work and who they become at home. If that sounds like your world, subscribe. This channel was built for you. Today, we're going deep on something I call the armor paradox. I'll be upfront with you. This is not a video about trying harder to be present. It's not about being more grateful or more intentional or more patient. Those things are fine, but they're not biology. And what we're talking about today is a biology problem, which means it requires a biology solution. If you've ever felt like two completely different people, depending on what environment you're in, this video is going to explain a lot. Let's go. Here's the paradox in one sentence. The same neural patterns that make you exceptional at work are actively dismantling your closest relationships. Not because they're bad patterns, not because something went wrong, but because they're survival patterns. And survival patterns don't know when to stand down. Let me explain what I mean by armor. In nervous system terms, armor is a sustained sympathetic activation state. It's what happens when your autonomic nervous system, the part responsible for fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, has been running in high performance mode for an extended period of time. Under Dr. Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory, your nervous system is constantly doing something called neuroception. It's a below conscious process happening faster than thought, where your body is reading the environment, reading the people around you, reading your own internal signal, and making a moment-to-moment assessment of whether you're safe. A demanding workday is neurologically a sustained low-grade threat environment. Not because anything terrible is necessarily happening, but because the performance demands the social navigation, the need to suppress your own emotional responses in order to function professionally. All of it keeps your sympathetic nervous system in a state of activation. The system is on, fully on, for 8, 10, 12 hours. Here's the key thing that most people never learn. Your nervous system does not read the clock. It doesn't receive a memo that says work is over. It doesn't automatically stand down because you changed locations. It stands in an activated state until it receives a clear, specific biological signal that the threat is past. Without that signal, without that biological consent, you bring every bit of the armor home with you. Across the threshold, into the kitchen, into every conversation that happens between 6 p.m. and bedtime. And the people you love feel it. Even if you never raise your voice, even if you're technically doing all the right things, they feel the state you're in. I want to give this phenomenon a specific name because naming it makes it workable. I call it the threshold effect. The threshold effect is what happens when you cross from a high demand environment into a home environment without an intentional neurological transition. You probably felt this. You pull into the driveway and something in you goes tight. Or you walk in the door and your eyes immediately start scanning what's wrong, what's out of place, what needs handling. Or you arrive and go completely flat, quiet, phone in hand, nothing to give, no idea where you went. Here's what's actually happening. Your neuroceptive system has been running a specific program all day. Call it high alert. And that program has a momentum. It doesn't just stop because context changed. It keeps running until something interrupts it. Think of it this way. If you've ever been on a long road trip and arrived at your destination, and then spent the next hour still feeling like you were moving, still in driving mode, that's a version of this. The body keeps running the pattern. The context changed. The system hasn't caught up. Now apply that to your relational life. Your nervous system is still driving the highway of your workday, and the people at home are trying to connect with someone who is neurologically still on the highway. And here's the part that makes this deeply relational, not just personal. Through co-regulation science, the research pioneered by Dr. John Cacioppo on how human nervous systems literally regulate each other, we know that your biological state is being broadcast to the people closest to you. Below the level of language, before you said hello, before you set your bag down, their nervous system is reading yours. When you arrive armored, the emotional temperature of your home changes. Not because anyone decided it would, because that's how human biology works. You're not just an individual nervous system walking through the door. You're a field. And what you bring into that room, everyone feels it. Now, let's talk about what armor actually looks like, because it doesn't show up the same way for everyone. In my work, I use 3 relational nervous system archetypes to describe the most common armor profiles. And I want you to really sit with these because recognition is the first step toward change. The first one is the fire starter. This is the fight response in professional clothing. The fire starter arrives at home still in mission mode. The sympathetic nervous system hasn't stood down, so everything in the environment gets processed as a potential problem. The kid's noise level registers as a threat to manage. The question your partner or your roommate or your close friend asks about dinner, "What do you want to eat?" somehow feels like an unreasonable demand. Now, the fire starter isn't trying to be critical or controlling. Their nervous system is just still running a threat scan. And everything that doesn't fit the hyper-effective, hyper-controlled work environment reads as a disruption. Over time, the people around the fire starter learn to manage them. They get quiet. They stop bringing the small things. They start walking on eggshells. And the fire starter, who genuinely loves these people, has no idea why the distance keeps growing. Next is the island. This is the freeze response, what polyvagal theory calls the dorsal vagal state. The island arrives and goes flat, quiet, unreachable. If you're an island, you typically spend the entire workday performing emotional availability for other people. Meetings where you had to be on, clients or colleagues who needed your steady presence. The whole day is an exercise in containing yourself so you can show up for everyone else. By the time you get home, the system has nothing left. And rather than escalating into fight, it does the opposite. It shuts down. Not as failure, as protection. The nervous system is conserving resources. The problem is that the island's shutdown looks like indifference to the people who love them. It looks like coldness, like checking out, like not caring. And the island is lying awake at night, genuinely confused about why the people closest to them feel hurt or disconnected. Because inside, the island isn't absent. They're emptied out. There's a difference. But from the outside, those two things look identical. And last is the unpredictable. This is the fawn response come home to roost. And this one is particularly common in emotional intelligent people. Coaches, therapists, teachers, managers, healthcare workers, anyone who spends their professional life in service to other people's nervous systems. The unpredictable spent the entire workday accommodating, saying yes when they meant no, reading the room and adjusting themselves to fit in, managing everyone else's emotional climate so skillfully that it looked effortless and cost everything. By the time they're home, the accumulated load is full. And when the system is full, the smallest thing tips it. Someone leaves the cabinet open. Someone asks one more question. Someone needs one more thing. And the reaction that comes out seems wildly out of proportion to the moment. Because it is out of proportion to the moment. The source of it isn't dinner. It isn't the cabinet. It's the 6 hours before dinner. It's every yes that it should have been a no. Every need that got suppressed so someone else's could be met. None of these profiles are character flaws. Every single one of them is a nervous system doing exactly what it learned to do. The question is just, is this still what you want it to do? So what do we actually do about this? This is where we get practical. This is the de-armoring protocol. And I want to be clear. It's not a mindset technique. This is a somatic intervention. We're working with the body's biology, not with the mind's intention. That distinction matters. You can do this in your car, on a walk, in a parking spot before you go inside. It takes under 5 minutes and it is grounded in decades of nervous system research. Step 1 is the shake. 30 seconds. Shake your hands, shake your arms, your shoulders, your whole body if you have the privacy for it. Start at the extremities and just let it move through you. This comes directly from Dr. Peter Levine's somatic experiencing work and from the neurobiological research on trauma completion. The body's natural mechanism for completing the stress cycle is movement and tremor. Animals in the wild do this automatically after a threat. They literally shake it off. The stress hormones discharge and the nervous system resets. We, as professional adults, learn to hold that movement still. We learn to contain that activation because shaking in a meeting is not considered appropriate. So we hold it, and hold it, and hold it. And then we walk through the door still holding it. The shake is giving your body permission to do what's been waiting for all day. It might feel ridiculous, it might feel undignified, but just do it anyway. The biology does not care about your dignity. Step 2 is the sight. Look for 3 things in your environment that feel safe or soft. A tree, the color of the sky, your hands on the steering wheel, a bird on a wire, something. This is the orienting response, one of the nervous system's earliest and most fundamental safety signals. When you orient to something soft or neutral in your environment, you're feeding your neuroceptive system new data. You're saying, look, the environment has changed. There's nothing to scan for here. You can update the threat assessment. This might sound too simple. It's not. The orienting response is a biological primitive. It bypasses the analytical mind entirely and speaks directly to the autonomic nervous system. 3 things, soft or safe. That's all it takes. Step 3, the breath. 4 counts in through the nose, 8 counts out through the mouth. And really emphasize that out. Let it be a little audible if you can. A slow, extended release. The extended exhale is a direct vagus nerve signal. The vagus nerve is the main communication highway of your parasympathetic nervous system and is deeply influenced by your breathing pattern, specifically the ratio of your inhale to your exhale. When the exhale is longer than the inhale, you're activating the ventral vagal state, the biological state associated with safety, connection, presence, and the capacity for genuine intimacy. 4 in, 8 out. Do it 3 times. Feel your shoulders drop. Feel your jaw unclench. Feel the room become slightly more real. That's biological consent. That's you, intentionally and consciously giving your nervous system the signal that it's been waiting for all day. The threat is over. You can come home now. Before I send you off to try this, I want to say something that I think is important. The reason this pattern is so persistent, the reason so many genuinely good, emotionally aware people still arrive home armored night after night, is that nobody ever told us the transition was a thing that required a protocol. Nobody sat us down and said, the version of you that survives the workday and the version of you that can actually love the people in your life are running on different nervous system states. And you have to consciously make the shift between them. We were handed the armor. We were taught to wear it well. We were celebrated for how well we wore it. And we were never handed the tool to take it off. That's not failure. That's a gap in what we were taught. And the only thing left to do is feel it. The work isn't to shame the armor. The armor made sense. The armor did its job. The work is to learn, finally, consciously, with a lot of compassion for yourself, how to lay it down when the day is done. If you want to understand your specific armor profile, what archetype you default to under relational stress, where the pattern came from, and what your nervous system actually needs, I have a free quiz that walks you through all of it, and it's called the Relational Nervous System Quiz. And the link is in the description. And if you're ready to stop reading about this and actually feel a full somatic reset in your body, the Stop the Spiral Workshop is a 60-minute live online experience I run for $37. We do the work together in real time. The link is also in the description. Hit subscribe if this kind of work speaks to you. Share it with someone who needs it. And you probably know at least one person who does. I'll see you in the next one.